The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Let's get to it. New Year's Eve in Evergreen Park. My name is Chris Lanuti. And joining me mobily tonight, and I feel terrible about this because every Christmas
don't feel
Eve.
terrible.
I'm sorry, New Year's Eve.
It's a pandemic.
I know, but you've been at every New Year's Eve that we've had in like this house in
I know.
forever, like decade, at least a decade.
I know. But it's important that you have your family there. You have your parents coming over, your sister and her family. So that's really important.
But they feel so less important now. Yeah, like at this
They
very
feel less
moment,
important?
my parents and my sister and my niece and my two nephews, my brother-in-law.
That's pretty good for the kids. They all get to hang out.
None of them matter as much right now, Hannah, because you're not down here at the 9-foot homemade oak barn.
Aw, I miss y'all.
See, I had to get that in there because otherwise I'd have felt guilty for the next hour. We're live for the next hour here on the EP Podcast. There's a lot of things that we have for you. We got some musical stylings. We're going to go into the vault here of all the songs that we've done, not only on this show, but throughout the life and history of the Broadcast Basement On Demand Radio Network. We're expecting some people to jump on the line and talk with us. We're going to have a trivia contest throughout the show. The winner is going to get $50 free. Use it for whatever you want to at Durbin's on 102nd and Kedzie. And I also have some free pizzas to give away to a couple of our callers. If you call and participate today, that will be given to you as well. So we have so much that we're doing. Before we get into anything, Hannah, I want to remind everybody this is all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Saving money, more important than ever now, and that's why they offer a great number of savings accounts and tools to meet your needs. Whether you're looking for a first savings account for your child's certificate of deposit or a money market account, First National Bank of Evergreen Park has the right savings solutions for you. To learn more, make an appointment to meet with a banker at bankevergreenpark.com/EPPod, member FDIC. I hear a party in the back.
We popped over to our buddy Scott's house. He's just got his parents and our buddy, his brother Eric, and then two other buddies that they play D&D with. I right now am hanging out with a gentleman named Max, who's very good at sitting and giving paw and shaking hands.
Oh, we got a puppy over there.
He thinks he's a puppy.
I have a puppy running around this house as well.
Yeah, but this one is like a giant compared to your dog.
Well, yeah, my dog he's not a tiny dog. Like, he's not one of those little yippy dogs, but he's also not, like, when he barks at dogs that are, I would say, a big dog, he looks ridiculous because that dog would eat his head.
I mean, this dog here, like, I just think like this, Max he's a pit lab mix. And I'm thinking, hey, he's kind of average sized dog. And then you guys get Hunter, and then, Hunter, I realized like, oh, he's not going to grow anymore. I'm like, he's so tiny. And then I see Max, and I'm like, oh my God, he's huge. So it's y'all got a little tiny dog.
Well, before we go any further, I want to make sure that I give out the big trivia question of the night for the $50 at Durbin's at 102nd and Kedzie. And here is the big news. First of all, the year ended according to podcast statistics at 6 p.m. Central Time because they go off of an international dateline. So at 6 p.m., the official stats for 2020 came through for the EP Podcast. We projected ourselves as getting 25,000 individual complete household downloads, no duplicates. People get through the entire show for 2020. The official number through right now, we come in.
Tell me.
At a hair under 35,000 complete individual downloads for 2020. We beat the projection by 10,000 listeners. Absolutely incredible. Thank you. I'm very excited about that. So that's the official thing.
Thank you to everybody for helping us get there. Thank you for listening to us and believing in us. And this means a lot. Thank you. I feel like I'm making an Oscars acceptance right now, but
a big year for the EP Podcast.
Without the EP Podcast universe, we would be nothing. So thank you.
A big year for the EP Podcast, and it should be even bigger next year. And you can see the trends. We always go up every month. I just thought that the mountain would keep going in the same direction, and the angle changed as the year went on, and the slope is getting bigger, and we're gathering more and more people that are listening, which is awesome. So now here's where the trivia question comes from. The EP podcast specifically takes care of Evergreen Park and the immediate surrounding area. All right? So 99.38% of all of our downloads came from the United States of America, essentially.
99.38%. So we have international listeners, is what you're trying to say.
Oh, it's hysterical. Like, I went through the complete breakdown for the year. We had one guy listen one time in Poland. We had the similar thing happen in Croatia. We got a guy from Finland. Algeria checked us out one time. It was very interesting, yes. We only got one from Mexico. They were not very popular there. The Ukraine came across with five listens, which was amazing. But here's the question. For $50 at Durbin's at 102nd and Kedzie tonight, you have until the end of the show at 8 p.m. I want you to name the top 5 in any order that you can. Come up with whoever comes up with the most out of the top 5 not in the United States, the top 5 countries that we showed up in. It ranges between 30 listens and 86 listens for the entire year. That's where they sit, these 5, okay? And then I think there's like 2 more in the double digits and everything else like a single listen. But we had 5 countries that actually got listeners or people that somehow stumbled upon the EP podcast even though they're not from Evergreen Park. Like I said, this is a very slight thing. I'll tell you this, Spotify has a hub in one of these countries, and it's the exact amount of shows that we did because every show that we send to Spotify, they download it in this country. And it's a European country, and then it ends up getting shot all over the world, but we get that one from that country every time. So what I want you to do is name the most out of 5 that you can get that are not the United States of America, and the one that gets the most right, and if there's a tie, we'll go by the order that you give them to me, all right? The person that's closest, $50 from Durbin's of Evergreen Park, and all you have to do to call in is you can hit the little button to call in to us, or you can type it inside of the room. So you can jump right inside the room. There is a chat room. You can guess which countries magically discovered the EP podcast. And Hannah will be allowed to ask a question to me every time we take a break to try to get a clue for the listeners. All right?
Okay.
So every time we take a break. So for the first one, you ask me a question about these, and I will answer it as long as it's not too specific. Just ask me something like what language or you just give me a geographical area. See if you can get hints for the listeners tonight on the New Year's Eve
What
show.
is this country? What's this country known for?
Well, there's 5 of them. So you just want me to pick one?
Yeah.
One of them is known for the purest beer, let's say. One of them is known for
purest beer.
The purest beer. That will be the clue. That's one of the 5. The most out of the 5 that you come up with, you could end up winning the $50. I see a guy in the chat room saying, I'm new here. What's going on? This is the EP podcast from Evergreen Park, Illinois.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome into the chat
Happy
room.
New Year.
And we're having a little contest to try to guess of the 5 nations, not the United States, who checked out the EP podcast the most. And you got to name as many of those 5. The person who gets the most gets $50 from Durbin's in Evergreen Park at 102nd and Kedzie. I want to talk about New Year's resolutions. I hear people showing up at my 9-foot homemade oak bar. My parents have just walked in the door. My nephews, my niece, my sister, my brother-in-law. I can hear them upstairs. I'm sure we'll hear them down here in moments. I want you to think about your New Year's resolutions, Hannah, as we contemplate a new year. 2021 coming soon.
Well, a new year is upon us once again. And I take a look back at last year and see how I've been. I made a few mistakes here and there, and though it seems like I don't care, but I won't be doing the same things I did back then. Gonna run a mile a day at the gym. Gonna do my best so I don't sin. Gonna put down the tobacco. Gonna do some more sit-ups. And I'll get to it right after this smoke. Right after this smoke. And this beer. And this shot of old granddad. And I'll get to it right after this smoke. Gonna donate some more money to charity. And I don't mean that cross-eyed blonde stripper at the bar. Gonna save the whales and save the pandas and stop littering. But I'll get to that right after this smoke. Right after this smoke and this beer. I'm placing bets on the Special Olympics. I'll get to it right after this smoke. Right after this smoke and this beer. I hope I make it to next year. But the devil can take me down till I finish this smoke and this beer and this shot. And oh, is that a car bomb? I'll take one of those and give me that. Vodka. That's what I need. Vodka. Oh, give me some McDonald's while you're out. Maybe some Burger King. And yeah, why not? You know, I'll go up the stairs if I need to go upstairs, but it's only for another beer. Church? Yeah, look for me through the windows. I'll be outside. Right after this smoke.
EP Podcast live on New Year's Eve. My name is Chris. That's Hannah. They're filing in here, Hannah. We've got my folks walking in the door here. We're breaking all the rules tonight. Although we've all been in quarantine for basically a month, just so we could have these holiday celebrations. So you've got your group, I've got mine, and I think that's the right way to do it. I mean, let's think about this. I mean, how hard is it to just sit there and say, we'll be good for a week or two, and then let's just get together with people that knew that they were being good. So it's kind of fun. I got to hug my mother on Christmas Eve. That was a treat.
Isn't that great?
Oh my goodness! Like I spent 14 days like hiding in my bunker here. And the payoff was that I didn't even need a present on Christmas. I'm going to tell you that right now. Didn't even need a present. That was absolutely amazing. All right. So the trivia contest going on here now, as these guys are stocking up the bar because they brought over their own stuff, is I have almost 35,000 downloads for the EP Podcast in 2020. Complete household downloads. People listen through the entire thing. It's not a duplicate. It's the same. If a husband and wife listen in the same house, it only counts as one. It's crazy how they do this stuff. The IAB that measures these stats, these are big numbers, okay? And we thank you very much for that. Over 99% of it came from the United States because the EP Podcast covers Evergreen Park and the surrounding area. But we're looking for 5 countries that randomly clicked on the EP Podcast. The top 5 that randomly clicked on the EP Podcast, you can call into us. If you call in, you may end up with a free pizza from Durbin's. If you guess the most of them correct, you'll end up with $50 from Durbin's at 102nd and Kedzie. We have Wild Bill in here with our first guess. He guesses Germany, North Korea, Switzerland, Haiti, and Canada. I will say this. He isn't completely wrong, but he does not have all of them. So that's a pretty good early entry, Hannah.
That's a very diverse list of countries there.
I like the North Korea one. I didn't even know that North Korea had
I don't think
they had podcasts.
If it is, I think it would be like the unfamily or the what are they called? What's their first name, last name, anyways?
Right, exactly. We have our
first.
Yeah,
it's because they're the only ones that are allowed to have it. You know, the common people are not allowed to have podcasts.
And check in with us if you're at your own parties. We have Lewis calling us right now. Hello, Lewis. How are you?
What up?
You have any guesses to other weird countries that would listen to the EP Podcast randomly, Lewis?
Azerbaijan.
What huh?
That's a country, isn't it? Azerbaijan.
I believe it's a country.
The Kazakhs, is it next to Kazakhstan?
It's one of those.
Yeah, sure, whatever. It's right over there.
It's right over there.
We're going to do some New Year's resolutions. I'm kind of curious, do you have one this year?
I'm going to drink more.
You've heard us talk about Cool Clouds Vapor Shop, local Evergreen Park business that helps people stop smoking. In fact, they've been around right here in Evergreen Park since 2014, and they are open and ready now to help smokers get off of cigarettes with a $30 starter kit. A wide range of devices are available. Try a different flavor or a nicotine strength. And right now they're offering curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping options. Cool Clouds also has a growing selection of CBD products and recreational cannabis accessories. First-time customers, mention the EP Podcast for 20% off your first purchase when you sign up for the rewards program. With gift certificates available, get one now for the smoker you want to get off cigarettes. Cool Clouds Vapor Shop, 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. Age verification is required, must be 21. Remember, quitting smoking is hard. Lucky for you, there's Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. You're listening to the EP Podcast live on New Year's Eve, and we're going to be going until about 8 o'clock tonight. Those that call in, we will be randomly handing out some free pizzas from Durbin's at 102nd and Kedzie. Durbin's of Evergreen Park, one of the proud advertisers on the EP Podcast, and they will be continuing into January as well. EP Podcast, I'm going to tell you something right now. You go back about, 8-9 months ago, right before the pandemic hit, and people were starting to say, hey, everybody's listening to this thing, let's buy some advertising. And then there was this massive hit that we took, just like every other business. And we were like, okay, well, that's okay. Our job is to help out the folks in Evergreen Park. So a lot of the ads we were running them for free or at high discounts, or we were doing a lot of the interviews we were doing because we wanted to help people. And it's been really nice. A lot of the business community has rewarded us with very long-term deals coming in here and running ads on here. And that allows me to do this full time and put up a couple shows a week and put together the Sox in the Basement show and get better equipment and make sure it sounds good and hand out the EP Podcast car magnets and all that stuff is because local businesses who jump in and get involved with the EP Podcast. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank them for 2020, a year that started out with me saying it could be this, and then a pandemic hit, and I was like, we're in trouble, and somehow we pulled through. And we've been fortunate so far, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that we're trying to help them too. You know, I mean, tonight, I don't know what your plans are, but I'm pretty sure you can find your way over to a place like Open Outcry, who's been so supportive of this show. You know, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of local places you can go to, like Durbin's, who are giving away the $50 to. You know, I'm sure they've got things set up pretty well over there. And you would have a comfortable and fun time while you're out. I'm sure you can go stop in, poke your head in at Porter Cullen's tonight. You know, I don't know if they're doing something, but I think I would think that that's something that's available to you. So think about that. Meanwhile, we asked about New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to give one to you, Hannah, and then I want you to ask me another another question.
Okay.
To see whether or not we can narrow things down for those that are trying to guess the 5 offshoot countries that listen to the EP Podcast the most in 2020. Weird countries that for some reason checked out a podcast that had to do with Evergreen Park. But I was looking at a New Year's resolution, so I'm going to give you one, you give me one. Sound good?
Okay.
All right. This year, I have a New Year's resolution to listen to more Bon Jovi.
All right. That's reaching for the stars right there, Chris.
Like, here's the thing. I've been looking around at, like, my old CDs, and I was a huge Bon Jovi fan. Like, I was a big Bon Jovi fan as a kid. I went to a couple of concerts when I got older. You know, I saw them in other cities. Like, I was a big Bon Jovi fan. And then somewhere along the lines, I just stopped listening to them. And today I was like, I don't know. And then I got this.
You got too good for it?
I don't know what it was, but I got this tool set from my parents for Christmas. And I brought it back to my tool bench. And I realized that I had 3 Bon Jovi CDs sitting back there, probably from the last time I listened to a CD and it wasn't on my phone. And I was like, why don't I have any Bon Jovi on my phone? Because now all you do is listen to stuff that's on your phone. And I'm like, I'm missing Born to Be My Baby. I haven't heard Never Say Goodbye in a while, you know? I haven't had a Let It Rock just pump through the speakers. Like, there are things that I miss, so there's going to be more Bon Jovi in 2021 for Chris Lanuti.
All right. Yeah. All right. Listen to the Bon Jovi.
Top that one, Hannah. Good luck to you.
Top that one.
Top that one.
Oh, God. New Year's resolution for me. Live day by day, because making future plans is the second time in my life I have learned do not put too much stock in future plans, because the future turns everything upside down whenever it feels like it. I learned that during Hurricane Katrina in 2005, and I learned that 15 years later in 2020. You know, don't get too committed to something that hasn't happened yet. You know, just live day by day. Whatever happens, happens. And just let go.
What do you think was the biggest story of 2020? I mean, I know the easy answer is...
How do you even say that? There was, the George Floyd and all the social unrest. And then
but I mean, pick one. What's the biggest thing that you thought came out of 2020 for you? The biggest thing that came out of 2020.
I mean, obviously COVID.
Right.
The biggest thing that come out of 2020 is, God, I don't know. What do you have? Maybe it'll spawn some ideas for me. The
biggest thing that came out of 2020 was the fact that I think everybody got to see what I've been yelling like a crazy person at the end of the bar for the last 15 years. That The rich, the powerful, and the media don't care about you at all. And I've been trying to explain this to people forever. Like, look, you could take every single major issue that happened in this country and you can roll it all to one ball and then understand there's one propaganda news site, another propaganda news site, and a third propaganda news sites, and all this. And if you haven't noticed how you've been manipulated by social media, by all these different things. If you don't see it at this point, you're never going to see it. This should be the thing that everybody should be understanding of, is how the big companies, the big corporations, the social media, the mainstream media, all this stuff from on all sides. I'm not picking one side or the other here. They're all bad for you, and you need to understand that. And I think that's what I learned from 2020, and I think a lot of people saw that for the first time.
And, and something that else happened in 2020 that I'm very happy about, despite the terrible things that, had to happen for this to happen. But these uptight old white businessmen, CEOs who want people in their desk at 7:30 until 4:30 or 5 o'clock every day, with their shirt tucked in and no jeans, because that's the only way you can get work done. Finally, they got completely bitch slapped, they had to learn that, hey, the younger generations are right. You can work remotely. Business and commerce can happen remotely. You do not have to all be in a desk in Downers Grove, Illinois, just to get work done. So that was good. It's I think a lot of people's work-life balance has, evened out a little bit. It's been a rough transition, but less miles on the road, less exhaust in the air. I'm very happy that happened, because this is something for years. Anyone who's worked especially in the corporate world, that wonders, why do I have to wake up early, get dressed, put on nice clothes, sit over an hour in traffic just to go sit at a desk and then sit in an hour traffic coming back home. I could have done this at home all day. So, but, especially this company I used to work for, they were very much oh no, everyone needs to be in the office, and this working remote thing is very temporary, and we will be bringing everybody back in the office. And then, they ate their words. But I'm happy to see that happen for this year.
That's awesome. I love the fact that that's what you took away from it. I'm very happy that no longer, Hannah, that you have to work 9 to 5. Good for you. This is the EP Podcast.
I work 9 to 5. I just do it from home.
Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen and pour myself a cup of ambition. Yawning, stretching, trying to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street and the traffic starts jumping. With a force like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind, and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. Working 9 to 5. 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. 9 to 5.
The EP Podcast live on New Year's Eve was quite the time. You have been listening to the beginning of that big party. The conclusion will be part of our regular Monday morning 30 minutes of good, available on demand everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com. We will find out who won the competition, the answer to the trivia question. We have more surprise callers calling in. A big announcement to kick off 2021 from the EP Podcast. More songs, more fun. Join us Monday. Plus, we'll have updates on what's going on in and around Evergreen Park to get you started off on the right foot in 2021. Thank you again for listening to the EP Podcast, part 1 of a 2-part bringing in of the new year. For Hannah, I'm Chris. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
Another show isn't wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show isn't wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudies Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudies Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always at the eppodcast.com.